I did a 6-month monk mode from January till July in Spain earlier this year with the sole purpose of doubling my business revenue and also showing myself that I can do anything that I set my mind to. So in this video, I want to break down the 6 things I took with me from that experience. Let's first just define what even is monk mode. So monk mode is basically just a certain period of time of extreme self-discipline where you set boundaries or goals for yourself that you have to uphold. And really, the last part of that sentence is what's most important. You've probably set goals for yourself before in the past, saying, hey, on Monday I'm gonna start this diet, or I'm gonna go to the gym 6 times a week, or New Year's resolution, right? The thing everyone does. But after a short period of time, you fall flat on what you promised yourself you would do. And this lack of self-discipline is really what's holding you back from achieving whatever you're trying to achieve in your life and your business. So without further ado, let's get into it, and let me tell you the 6 things that I learned from my 6-month of monk mode. First off is that your business is just a reflection of yourself. The first thing that I learned was that your business is basically just a reflection of yourself. So regardless of your industry, your self-image, how you view yourself, will reflect directly into your business. So if you're someone who consistently just doesn't show up when times get tough, perhaps you slept poorly and then you skip your workout or you cheat on your diet, that will not only affect your health as an individual, but it will also affect your business. This is due to the simple fact that you just won't do the actions necessary to get to the next level. So when I started showing up every single day, not only did I get more done, but I also executed on more important things that would propel the business forward instead of just doing busy work. We've all done it from time to time. I got more impactful stuff done. The second thing that I took from this experience was that while in the process of growing, things will seem chaotic and it will seem bad. It's only really after the growing process that you can see the changes. So while I was doing this monk mode, the leaps forward I actually took in my personal life and my business, they seemed like minimal or non-existent really, but this was because I was still adjusting to my lifestyle. I had to continually adapt to all the things I put on my plate, right? So really the only thing that I experienced was all the shortcomings, all the things that I wasn't excelling at, and that can be very frustrating in the moment, but it only clicked for me once I got back home and I could get some much needed rest, because that gave me time to reflect, and only then could I actually realize how far I've come and how much I actually pushed myself, and really just appreciate all the internal growth that had happened while I was in Spain. So when I got back home and tried to come back to my normal routine that I had before I went to Spain, I realized that I couldn't do it. I couldn't just go back to my old self. I really felt like a completely different person. And then the third thing I learned here was that the amount of work that's required to succeed is far more than what you actually think. So at least for me, I sincerely doubted the amount of work that was required of me. So my days always started at 6 a.m. I woke up at 6 a.m. and then I would usually be at the computer at 7. But I had days where, I needed to be on client check-in calls at 9 or 8 p.m. or sales call at 7, 8, 9 p.m. That's a 15-hour workday, and that's uncomfortable for basically everyone. But I knew I was in Spain for one reason only, and that was, to increase my business. So it just had to get done. Being okay with being uncomfortable was something I had to teach myself, because otherwise those early mornings and late nights, they would have just crushed me. So the work capacity I built up during Spain was on a whole different level. But I've also taken that with me since then. But to get to that, work baseline, I had to do a ton of work and also a ton of suffering, which is really number 4. So number 4 is you are capable to go through an enormous amount of suffering without actually suffering. I committed to a lot of things I knew would just collectively suck, and just committing to one thing can be pretty daunting, right? Because you have to get it done each and every day. There's no breaks. And doing something you're probably not super passionate about with no breaks, you will at some point inevitably suffer. But this is what I committed to. So I committed to training 10 times a week. So that would be tennis 1 time a week, running 3 times a week, and going to the gym 6 times a week. And then I committed to meditating every single day. I meditated for 192 days straight without break, I think. Then I committed to doing everything necessary to double my business in those 6 months. I committed to get in my best physical shape ever. And then I committed to reading a book every 2 weeks. And committing to all those things, that sucked more and more as each and every week went by. But at a certain point, you just kind of realize, you're not actually suffering. It's just your brain and your belief systems about yourself telling you that it's too much. But as you do these things every single day, your self-identity and belief system starts to change, and things do get easier and easier at a certain point. For me, it only happened after I got home from Spain. At a certain point, it's inevitable inevitable that your self-identity and belief systems, they will change. The fifth learning I took from it was that when momentum is on your side, you need to milk it for everything that it's worth. So I think there's a time and place for gratitude, but I think there's an even bigger time and place for not being complacent. And usually when you're showing a lot of gratitude, that usually leads to complacency. So if you truly want to succeed, just because you hit a milestone, it doesn't mean that it's actually time to take the foot off the gas. You need to keep momentum going while you have it and milk it for everything there is, because everyone goes through cycles, and usually what happens is that people will be on the upswing and they'll kind of chill out, and then when they're on the downswing, they usually try and fight really hard to get that momentum back. Instead, you need to switch that. You need to ride the upswing as hard as possible, and then when your downswing comes, you can just kind of chill. So this was something I didn't do enough of last year, but I did it this year, and this just made sure that when summer rolled around, which is usually our quiet months, so June, July, August, because we're in the B2B space, so people are usually on vacation during that time, I could also just kind of chill out, because we were already 2x what we were in the beginning of the year, because I made sure that I basically just laid my foundation when we had momentum going. And then the last thing I took from this Spain trip was that your views and beliefs about yourself will change as you start doing, not the other way around. So I did the math for me, and I figured out that if I could double my business, that would take me from just living, comfortably to putting myself in the top 1% of earners in Denmark. And as a 24-year-old, I thought that was pretty cool. It's not something, if you told me 2 years ago I would be in the top 1% earning bracket in Denmark, it's not really something I would have believed. But what ended up happening is that we doubled in just 2 months. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I did the numbers for, that was then March, it felt great. It was such a big relief, and it was like a chip really came off my shoulders, because it was just such a massive milestone for me to hit. But it didn't take a lot of days for me to actually just get accustomed to, now this was my income, this is what I'm used to now, this is where I just have to be at every single month. And the same thing actually ended up happening with meditation. So I didn't actually see myself as someone who meditated, especially not every single day. So my beliefs about myself didn't actually change just from envisioning that, oh, I'm someone who makes let's just say 100k or 200k a year, or envisioning myself meditating every single day. It just came from the doing. Multiply that by time. As you do enough reps, you will start to see yourself as the person who are doing these things that you're doing on a daily basis. So guys, that basically rounds up today's video, and these are the 6 major things I took with me from my 6-month monk mode in Spain. I hope you found some real value in this, and hopefully you can try and apply some of this to your own life, or maybe it's just a process you have to go through. If you haven't done a monk mode before, I highly recommend you try it. And if you want some feedback on certain protocols you're thinking about trying, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to help. If you like this style of video, consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. So that wraps up today's video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.